Hi, friends. I'm Barry, and this is my amazing support gang, Zayden, Avery, and Bert. We're here to invite you to something truly magical, the miracle of the season.
This year, we're asking you to collect new books and board games. Yes, they must be new. And deliver them to the 2025 Chili Cook-Off, Community Pay It Forward, or your local children's ward at the hospital closest to you.
These gifts will bring comfort, imagination, and joy to children who need it most.
We also want you to read your favorite story, just like you would to your own kids, and record it for us to share on air.
Help us by purchasing these books and board games.
Open the cover and sign it with your family name, leaving the "to" blank for a nurse to fill in.
Let's celebrate the beauty of every tradition, every story, and every act of love.
Tell us about your favorite holiday memories. What did you celebrate? What moments with family and community do you cherish most?
Your voice could bring a beloved tale to someone who's never heard it before.
Businesses, we need you too. Sponsorships help us reach more families and make this season truly miraculous. Join us in showing your love for the community. Join us
for the miracle
of the season. Visit communitypayitforward.us to learn more, get involved, and share your story.
This wall took 2,500 years to build. We don't have that long. That's why your support means so much. Please, donate or volunteer and join the Community Partner Honor Wall. Because community takes us all. So please, join us today.
Born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her life, left at night, stepping out of her fear. Bring me home, out of love.
It is Wednesday, and with the sound of Theron, you guys know that my theme song is sung by one of my very best friends in the world, Theron Roberson. And as a community of bikers, we have a dear friend in our community who is come to the end of his journey. He will be passing on. And look, Bob has traveled the country from end to end on his motorcycle. Never gets off that thing. He's traveled from one end of this country to the other, top to the bottom, passing scripture to people who need it, to other bikers who have went down, to just lost souls. Bob has done a lot. And I don't know him very well. I know him because of the circle that we run in. Of course, I know his name. He knows me. He and I have talked a couple times. But I know how important he is to all of you, all of my friends out there. And all I want to say is, Bob, you've done a great job and you've helped humanity. You've been a good person and a good voice through all of the stuff that's went on. So from me to you, I appreciate it. And thank you for everything that you've done. I'm excited that you are going to be able to continue your journey, uh, and spend time with the man that you love the most, because there is no way that you're going anywhere but heaven, my friend. So thank you very much for what you've done. Um, as a community, we all thank you, because you look, we need more people like you. We need more people who are going to be there. We need more people who are going to help others. So thank you, sir, for all you've done. Thank you for the life that you lived, and ride well into the sky. Thank you, my friend. So it's a very, very special show tonight, because we have our dear friend Lynn Cebulski back. It's Lynn's Day. So we're extremely happy about that. What's Lynn's Day, you ask? This is what it is.
In a world full of questions, sometimes the answers find you. This Lynn's Day, the veil lifts. Step into the circle, ask your question, receive your message. We will be live with Lynn, giving free tarot readings. Real insight, one magical hour. We'll also share how you can help with Miracle of the Season, our global tradition of giving, joy, and togetherness. Lynn's Day on the IMpACT podcast, Wednesday, November 19th, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming on all IMpACT channels.
And here she is. It is Lynn's Day. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Zach. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. It's wonderful to have you here, because this is, well, first off, it's fun. This is exciting. I think this is something that, having you as part of the program, having you as part of the you know, in the family is so cool, because it does link the two sides of my life. My wife brought me into this paranormal, wacky type thing, and now I get to explore it with friends that understand, that understand it, and are helping others through that journey. So, Lynn, before we move on, and we've already got somebody in the green room waiting to come out and ask you a question, and I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about her anyway. We've never actually had a chance to really talk. So, but tell us a little bit about yourself and introduce what you've got going.
Okay, so my name is Lynn Cebulski. I am a tarot reader in Brooklyn, New York. I've been reading tarot professionally since 2013. I grew up in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, which is the northeast section near the Poconos, and I grew up Roman Catholic. I went to Catholic grade school, high school, and college. I moved to New York in 2007 and spent most of my career as a college financial aid administrator. So everything from creating student loans to creating financial aid packages, coaching people through the FAFSA, helping students and families have discussions about personal finance and, options to relieve debt, things like that. And during my time in New York, I discovered that I have a talent for reading tarot. More specifically, I had a vision in which I saw myself reading tarot cards, and some short time while later, I was gifted the deck that I had seen in my vision, and it was a very profound experience, and I've been reading tarot ever since. And I'm so happy to be here, because the Community IMpACT family is such a nice family to be a part of. And I love having these conversations where we can, have the readings and just watch what unfolds and approach it with fun and curiosity and open-mindedness. And yeah, that's all I got, Zach. I'm just excited to
Well,
be
let me ask you this question real quick. Do you think it was easier that you had your first reading, you had your first vision as yourself? You saw yourself doing it, rather than you being, you walking along the street and all of a sudden you were able to read someone else. Do you think it was easier for you to understand what was going on, since it was yourself that you got your first reading off of?
Um, that's an interesting question. I've always been intuitive, and as I've gotten older, I've understood that intuition is something that everyone has a skill and
Hmm.
access to, but we're just not taught to use. And some people
Yep.
just kind of like myself stumble onto it and use it more, and it becomes like a muscle. Um, so by the time I had this vision, it did kind of click. You know, you don't know what skills and talents you have until you go out there and try. And sometimes we go out there and we try something and it comes a lot more easily than we think it's going to. And at that moment, that's the kind of thing you look around and you say, hey, there might be something to this. And I have to say that of the decisions I've had in my life, broadly speaking, the tarot road has always been an extremely easy road. You know, people in situations just kind of tend to come to me without my having to try so hard. And I meet the most amazing people. We have the most, profound and beautiful moments. And I think we were in a group talking earlier today about, just loving what you do and
Yeah.
how you know when the thing that you're doing is your purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. I know one of the things that I have learned is that children become targets of things unwillingly when you're open to see them. We as adults, we've lived a lot of our lives enclosed, being afraid to understand what we hear a lot of times. So there's a lot of times that we're more skeptical than than even children. So but we wanted first thing I want to do is if you look above Lynn's head, you will see a beautiful little purple, well, okay, maybe not right above your head, but you'll see a beautiful little QR code. That QR code will take you to Lynn's page on Community Pay It Forward. If you hire Lynn and you get a reading, as you get a reading, you give a chance. Anytime you hire Lynn, you tell her it's through Community Pay It Forward, you're going to be able to donate to a cause that you choose because Lynn has joined our family and she truly also believes that every purchase, every transaction should mean someone is able to stand up on their own. So I'm proud to bring in a new friend and someone I have not had a chance really to meet. But Christine, how are you doing?
Can you hear me? Can you hear
You
me?
you are in. You are in. Yes.
Well, I am doing amazingly. I mean, it's been a journey these past 2 weeks, but I feel like I have this monkey off my back that I've been carrying around all summer. So, feeling very free, actually. And it was just a project, a very absorbing project, time
Well,
consuming.
Lynn, I don't think you would mind this, but Christine, why don't you tell us a little bit about your product? Tell us, please share with us. You are the creator. You're the founder of something amazing, and I would love for you to be able to tell people who are watching what you have done and how you can help them.
Well, let's start with there are two. There are two missions, and that I've discovered. And like Lynn said, sometimes you just have this gut instinct or intuition, and when you follow it, you you are just in love with every single moment that you pour into the mission. And I think that's the moment you know you are on the right track and or the right trajectory for your life path this time around. And so there are two for me. The one that probably would be pertinent to this conversation is my CG Excellence training project. And I wasn't quite sure how that was going to roll out because I've been thinking about it for probably 10 years. And I've always been in the customer service space. I mean, since I was a little girl. And so that was always something that was dear to me. And that was something that I just loved to be in the service role. And what I found in corporate was that people in the service role really needed support because it's a grueling position in that you're just in service for maybe 8 to 12 hours a day on your feet. And just think of the role of a person at the grocery store ringing out groceries for 8 hours, and they get a 1 hour break in the middle of the day, and they're expected to be cheerful the entire time, no matter
Yep.
what is going on in their life. So my work is truly supportive of those servant leaders, and I just didn't know. So I prayed about how shall this roll out? What do you want me to do with this? And what happened was that I had an opportunity to serve a national company, and because one-on-ones was a one-on-one, or even a team of six in a group, would take me forever. So I decided, that's when the idea came, that you know what, a customized video tailored to the culture, to the pain points, to the brand, that was the answer. And so for me, not being tech savvy, I pushed all limits. I pushed every limitation. And if I couldn't figure it out, I would just find a book or find it online and figure it out until I accomplished the goal. And I think that's why this project was so important for me, because it showed me what I could really do with a vision and how to meet that vision. I just kept looking at the vision, I didn't care how I got there. I just had to get there. And for me to be able to execute that in a way that I'm so proud of, and that I know that it'll be so impactful for all of these servant leaders across the country for this particular company. But then when I delivered the goods, I realized, oh my gosh, my platform offers so many free services. And now those services can support the leadership team. So not only am I supporting the front line, but I also can support the leaders through my training videos that are online. They're called training reflections, and they're not long. They're just impactful. And my blogs and the podcasts, they're all free, like complimentary with an E, meaning they're supportive of the customized training videos. So now we've got it, and it took a very long time to get here to figure out how to roll it out in the way that Spirit wanted me to roll it out.
Well, that's you know, I love that passion. I love the way that you're going about it, and I love that it's driven by support. Okay, because I truly, there's a lot of times that we're so driven when it comes to our own business that we kind of forget that we need the support of other people. We need to support other people, and I really appreciate that you were talking about the person who's standing there for 8 hours, and they're standing there and they got to do that whole smile thing. Look, let's be honest, there's no such thing as leave home at home and leave work at work. You cannot do that. You're a human. You've got emotions, and when you go to work and you have to deal with other people, it's such a strain on yourself. So I think that I congratulate you on all of that. So, but Christine, I would like to invite you to ask a question to Lynn, and let's get you a reading.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. You know, sometimes thank you for this opportunity. I was not expecting this. Okay. Sometimes, even though you meditate and and as you said, Lynn, it just is like a muscle. And the more you connect with your own spirit and your own power, internal power and source, the more you do that, the more you say hello, the more you connect, the stronger that muscle gets and the closer you get to your source. And the more um, doorways open and pathways open. And I feel for this opportunity, it's good to have Lynn in that can kind of look outside of my source, right? Kind of get the bird's eye view to see what's going on. So I guess that would be my question. Would be how do you? I am so excited about both of my projects. Like I live and breathe them, and I think about. I'm in creative mode most of the day, and so and night, like while I'm like dreaming about it. So what, Lynn, from your perspective, how do you see this? Because I also heard you talk about the year of the horse next year and how everything will be kind of culminating next year. All the work that you put in will be kind of circling back to you, if I understood that correctly. So, anyway, without any more to say, how do you see this for me, for my spirit?
Good question. If I'm being honest, I showed up here this evening and I've been working with this deck that I just started working with this year called the Boo Tarot, which is, my October, November, the veil is thinner deck because it's got these really cute pictures of ghosts. And it reminds us that even though it's like, oh, the veil's thin and it's winter and it's getting darker and so on and so forth, like you can still be, buoyant and joyful. And this deck spit out two little chunks of cards for, presumably the two readings I'm going to do this evening. So, your question fits what fell out, I think. So I'm going to go through a couple cards, and then at the end I have a homework card.
Okay.
So the card that is representing you right now, we have this Two of Cups. This is literally your two projects, and it's even labeled like potion. That's the Shrinkles.
That's crazy.
So Two of Cups, this is, cups is something that makes us happy, that makes us satisfied. You've made the commitment, the Ace of Cups, what is underlying this situation. And it's that you decided, I'm going to go in and do the work, knowing that there's a possibility that this actually works out and happens. And so when you commit to having that vision, that is part of what brings it to fruition. In your past position, you are pulling a reversed, but I'll show it upright, a reversed Queen of Wands. Wands has to do with action. And so a reversed Queen of Wands shows somebody who is capable of doing a lot, who has that fire and that spark and that creativity and that ability to do things. But reversed means this is somebody that wasn't being noticed or being able to work to their full potential. And so right now, in your current circumstance, you have a reversed Five of Cups, which is great because, he's crying in the Five of Cups. Five of Cups talks about looking at bad situations instead of good situations. And it's reversed. So it's saying, hey, good job focusing on the positive, focusing on what serves, focusing on what brings, joy and satisfaction, rather than looking at things that didn't work out. Because, anytime you're starting a project or, putting your heart into something, sometimes you take your shot and it works and sometimes it doesn't. And so this card is speaking to your focus on the things that do work. In your future, you are pulling a reversed Knight of Swords. Swords has to do with intellect, and the knight is somebody who rushes in. And so a Knight of Swords would rush into something that they really don't know much about, but it's their job to figure it out. This is reversed, and so it's saying great job going into those situations where you didn't know what to do or how to do it. You figured it out. You're not a knight anymore. You've overcome that initial, I'm a newbie to this situation. So what happens going forward? Where are things headed? Under your fears and concerns, I am drawing a King of Pentacles. This means don't be afraid to master finance. There's a real money end to the thing that you're doing, in addition to the part that you focus on. From this beginning of the reading, it was cups, so it's all like, this is how it makes me feel, this is how it makes others feel. But this is saying, hey, there's money to be made here also. You're pulling two very powerful cards here. You are pulling, don't freak out, you're pulling the death card, and then your homework card is the reversed chariot, which I'll put up front, or upright. So this death card is saying there's been a transformation. There was an old Christine, and now there's a new Christine. There was an old life and there's a new life. And we can look back to that old life and say, hey, there were things I enjoyed about it. There are like these memories that I have and some things that I want to carry forward. But this hasn't been in the picture for a minute now. And this is when you get to actually embrace the part about having the new life. And so your homework assignment is the chariot. It's reversed because it's saying you're in this transformation right now, but you're past the point where you could like go back to where you were. There's no going back to the old life, the old way. The only way to do things is to move forward. And by continuing to commit to this journey, this is where you open the new doors and open to the new windows and create the new path. So this card is saying basically you're on the right path, and just keep doing what you're doing. And with each moment, you are making good on this commitment that you made at the beginning of the reading to move forward with the thing that compelled you and felt right.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing, Lynn. Thank you. I actually heard while I was vacuuming last Saturday, there's no turning back. Just-
So,
True.
so Lynn, just a week ago tomorrow, we talked about the death card and how sometimes when it gets pulled, people freak out. They're like going, "Whoa, no!" And we were like, "That's not always what it means." But just 1 week ago, we were talking about that. And what do you know? Here it is. Christine, are you happy with what you just heard?
You know what? You speak of the truth, Lynn. That's pretty amazing. You're incredible. You are incredible on so many levels. Thank you, Lynn.
You are very welcome. Thank you. I'm glad it was helpful.
Well, Christine, if you would like, you're more than welcome to stick around with us. But we've got another question here from another brother. Everybody knows the man, myth, the legend, Mr. Alan Holmes. How you doing, my friend? He's in internet.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was typing in, first of all, I had the congratulations to Christine and her success and everything else. And thank you for inviting me to Linde. But I was typing in the chat, so I might as well share it live. Is how does one tackle new ideas and new projects as we steer through family and business connections without rocking the boat, so to speak, which, anybody knows me, I like to do it. But that's kind of why I'll leave it at that. And I want to hear the great wisdom of Lynn Sabowski in this amazing platform. Thank you, Zach, for having me.
Yeah, no problem, Alan. And Christine, I'm going to take you and I off the screen so Lynn can talk to Alan.
I am so happy to see you, Alan. The great meeting of the Leos. So I will say that Leo to Leo, Leos have been dealing with some stuff lately. And as a Leo, we tend to have to take leadership or take ownership or take action on things because people sense that Leos are strong and Leos are capable. And when people have situations that are uncomfortable or that need help, they want to give them to somebody who is strong and capable. So, whatever the things are that you're dealing with, I just want to say, in a weird sort of way, that is the universe complimenting you and saying, hey, these things are on your plate because you really do have what it takes to handle them in the way that they need to be handled and to provide people with the love and support that they need. So, without any further ado, the first card that I have drawn for you is a reversed Four of Cups, which I'm happy about because the Four of Cups, that talks about people who are trying to escape their feelings. And so a lot of times with Four of Cups, you see things, people who are depressed, people who, it can be substance abuse, it can be exhaustion, it can be overwhelm, it can be too much eating, too much shopping, but there's this sense of my feelings are just so overwhelming and I can't breathe and experience them all. I need to escape somehow. And your reading is starting with that card reversed. And so it's saying if that's where you have been feeling stuck, you're on the way out of that. You've overcome the biggest part of that. And the reason for that, you are pulling a reversed Knight of Wands. And so we talked about the Knight being someone who has to jump into a situation that they don't know much about, and then they have to figure out what to do with it. And Wands is action. It's tangible actions with tangible results. And so this is saying that you are overcoming a period where you've just had to rush in and do a quick analysis and take actions and make decisions and do things. That piece of your current situation is over and done with. So if it doesn't quite feel over and done with, I would say just, think about it, realize things are done. There may not be further steps that are needed, at least not at this time, and it's okay to relax into the feeling of, hey, I've done what I needed to do. In your past position, you're pulling the Emperor card. And so this is saying in some past iteration of this scenario, you were used to being in charge and calling the shots and not having things questioned, which is really where Leos belong. Currently, you may have some more input or you may have to consider some other people's feelings. You are pulling a reversed Five of Swords, which means you have overcome a situation where there are lots of subject matter experts, people who have knowledge, who have data, who have facts, who come with receipts, but boy, they don't get along. They all have different ideas on what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. And it's chaos, and somebody has to come in and kind of manage that. And I have a feeling that person would have been you. But again, it's reversed. So it's saying we're done with that. What is the future holding? We have a reversed Eight of Swords. And so what the Eight of Swords talks about are situations where we see risks, we see red flags, we see reminders of past situations, and we have to ask ourselves, is the hesitation that I feel real and actually applying to this situation? Or is this just because I've been burned before, I've been through something similar, and I'm kind of anxious, but not really giving this situation a chance? In your case, you pulled the card reversed. And so what that means is if you're moving into a situation and it looks like a red flag, trust that instinct. It means the red flags are real. And so even if somebody says, oh, it doesn't have to be, it might not be, approach the situation with the idea that red flags are real, that your intuitions are correct, and move forward from that perspective. You are pulling also a reversed High Priestess card, which is your intuition, and the slot that it's coming under is something that describes your fears or concerns. And so this is saying your fear or concern, what if my intuition is blocked? What if it doesn't work? What if I'm not really feeling like I'm in touch with my intuition? Is it still safe to move forward? And so we just had this card talking about red flags are real if you identify them as such. And so if you don't feel like you're connected to your intuition, trust your brain. It's working for you, it's working the way that it should. You have a Four of Swords coming up in your future. Four of Swords means you get to take a break, you get to take a rest. The Four of Swords says, I'm going to take a step back from the situation and I'm just going to rest and let things be and see what happens, collect that new data, make those new observations. But right now, I get to take a hands off approach. Finally, my friend, you have two homework cards, which I feel are related to two different situations. Um, you're pulling a lot of reversed cards. And so what that means is there's a lot of room for potential action. And there's also a lot that you've already accomplished that you just get to put down now. So, homework assignment number one, you have a reversed hermit card, which is saying, come out of your shell. It is time to come out and join the world and be the bright, shiny Leo person that we know you to be. It's okay to come back and join the party. We miss you. We love you. It's time. Your next homework card is the reversed Fool card, which says there is a new journey that you have not yet undertaken that you might be trying to avoid, but it's coming and it is going to be to your benefit in the long term. And just a bit of astrology, if things feel kind of stuck with that right now, end of April 2026, we have a planetary shift that kind of unsticks some things. So if you feel like maybe this got kind of a start, but then you took like 2 steps forward and 2 steps back, and now you're like, I'm in the mud here, this card is saying, keep focused. It's not done yet. You're going to move forward, but probably in the spring of next year.
How do
And
you feel, Alan? Oh, I'm sorry, Lynn.
no. That's it. That was what I got.
Yeah. How does that suit you, my friend?
Wow, wow. Thank you. Wow, this is why I show up to Community Pay It Forward and Shrinkles and the Great Lent. No, I love it. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your soul, your heart, and your wisdom. I honor you. Thank you.
No, thank you for coming on and thank you for the question. We greatly appreciate it. We really do. And you out there, if you want, utilize the chat button. Type in a question. Lynn can answer it. We can do our best to try to answer it for you. So this is Lynn's Day. We're probably going to do this hopefully around once a month or so. Trying to take and Lynn, you're fairly new to this, and we really want to get this up and going and help you out as you help us out. So one of the other things that I want to do is I want to show my appreciation to you because you donated a full 1 hour reading that we unfortunately we didn't get any bids for it on the chili cook-off, but it will be up for auction on the miracle. So if you want to bid on getting a 1 free hour reading, just keep watching for our auction. So, Christine or Alan, did either of you have another question while we're waiting to see if anybody in the audience has one? Did you have something else, Christine? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Thank you so much. I What are all the ways that a person can? I know that you mentioned them at the very beginning of this broadcast. What are all the ways that a person can support this effort? And I know one is purchasing, of course, through Lynn and any number of your vendors that do donate right to the community.
Yeah.
Chopping that up, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's a very simple process, Christine. We've got wonderful people like Alan, like Lynn, who have just partnered with us, and they've said, you know what, if you can introduce us to people who would do business with us, we're going to give you a referral. And what I've decided to do with that referral, instead of just putting in my pocket, we're going to give 75% of that referral to someone in the community who needs it. And so the person who hires Lynn to get a reading, or hires Alan to do any the wonderful things that he does. Say they give me $10, we're gonna ask that their new customer who they want to support, and we're gonna send $7.50 to that cause. And on the other end of the program, we have wonderful people who have asked us for help. And this is just a way that, whether it's nonprofits or families in need, or veteran causes, fundraising activities, or kids who, as you heard, we're doing this book drive where we're, putting books into the hospitals, for kids. So this was just an easier way for me to be able to jumpstart some fundraising by making your business important, making your business vital, making your business uh, just the way that people can really strengthen their own community. So, that, and I realized that, yeah, I'm not very good at event planning. I'm nobody needs a Zach Clayton wedding. No one. So I've been married 3 times. My wives have never asked me anything about the wedding. Never. So, but they knew that, the first dance being a Megadeth song probably wouldn't go over well. So, but so, but thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for the question. Did either of you have anything else that you would like to ask Len?
Lynn, I think that that financial piece maybe it may involve Tim, because he's been on the radar for me to work with him, but I've been stalling because I don't have my facts and figures together because I've been in creative mode, right? So it's you have to put your different hats on, when you're on your journey. So Tim may be our friend. Tim may be a part of that journey that
I
you.
I liked how earlier in the conversation, our friend Z referred to Tim as Diamond Tim. Um, and I liked that because if you're doing like cardomancy, like basically tarot with a regular deck of playing cards, it's the suit of diamonds that corresponds to pentacles, which is like your money and your possession. So it was really reading his energy very accurately.
Yes, that's amazing. And Z himself is truly a magnifier. Whenever I meet with Z, it's like my creativity is off the charts. It's off the charts.
Yeah, that is true. Lynn, when you give a reading, people really have to decide how they're going to structure around what you pull, right? I mean, they have to decide, okay, look, for this to happen, I need to do it in this order.
Um, Sometimes. I mean, you can come to a reading with like a specific question in mind. Some people show up and they say, I'm ready to hear whatever the universe wants to drop on me. And it really and truly can be anything. Um, I think in most cases, people hear something that resonates with something that's familiar, that's on their plate, that's on their minds, that is, topical. And, I always hope that the readings are more validation. That people get readings and they recognize themselves and they recognize their choices and they recognize, their situations and the possible outcomes. That's really the win for me. But the, I think part of your question gets into like the frequency of tarot readings. And I think that's a really personal thing. Some people
Mhm.
get a reading once or twice in their lifetimes, and that's it. And some people say every couple weeks, every couple months, whatever it is. Some people show up for like stints. They'll have a couple readings within a span of months, and then they drop off for 7 years. So it's a very individual thing.
Yeah. I just, like I said, it is neat because I've had, I've also got a really good friend who is she's a reader in up north of you, and she's a wonderful person. I used to be the producer of we called him the Rev, and he was a paranormal minister. So she would come on and she would do readings. She's still a really good friend to this day, but kind of one of the gigs that's when I became a button monkey. Is I sit here and press around on the buttons, make things go. That's kind of where I learned how to do this. But you know, this is still really a lot of fun. So. But Christine, how do people get a hold of you if they're interested in what you were talking about?
My gosh, I think the best place is my website. I think that's the best place because all of my work is on the website. And you can actually sign up for the weekly blog can be sent right to your inbox. So that website is cgexcellencetraining.com.
Okay. CG Excellence Training.
Yes.com. And
Okay, and I will post that in the information to this video so people can get a hold of you. So once again, we're going to put out a last call. If you have a question, if you would like for Lynn to perform a reading for you, please type it in the comments and let's get one more reading before our hour runs out. So, Alan, how do people get a hold of you, brother? Alan, that didn't sound like you.
Well, they can go ahead. No, that was I know. Yeah, that was my second card. I have to have that PSA announcement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Tell them thank you. But anyway, buildyourlegacywitallen.com is the best way to get a hold of me. And it's kind of my L card and has a lot of great resources, such as one of our closest associates we all know and love, Dr. H2O, Save for Cleaner Water. He's on there. And so that's how we can have but you may end up having a conversation that leads back to the intuition that Lynn was talking about, and I'll refer them back to the genius called Miss Lynn because it's Lynn's day, but it's Lynn's day every day. So you ask me one question, and then all of a sudden I'll go off into something else. But anyway, thank you, Zach, for also community pay it forward. You may see me somewhere. There's Master Connectors Corner. There's a great genius out there who runs he says he calls himself the Button Monkey, but Mr. Zach Clayton. So for those listening, please have a conversation with Lynn and Christine, and of course the legendary, incomparable Zach, who puts all this together for this community. Thank you, sir, for having us.
Yeah, and Alan, we're going to be recording your show on the 4th, I believe, with Mr. Frank Monteforte. Do I have
I
that
muted
right?
myself again. Yeah, we're definitely going to be having it with yes, with the incredible Frank. Learning, he's going to definitely give him with FGM coaching. So it's going to be looking forward to the inspiration and the nuggets that he's going to share.
Yeah, I know that we performed an interview. I had Frank on this show a couple weeks ago, and he is just a wonderful, wonderful man. The we had him on the family networking, and I learned a lot about him. He was on my anniversary of my motorcycle accident. and he shared with us something about the loss of his daughter, and it took me. I mean, it about had me in tears. But his strength and just who he is. All four of us know Frank very well, and he is just such a wonderful man. And I'm really looking forward to that for that interview, and we'll get that coming up right after the fourth. So, um, I want to thank Christine, you for joining us. Alan, thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you guys join us again next month when we bring Lynn back.
Oh, absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right.
And I'll
Well,
be in touch with you, Zach, as to how I can contribute to your mission.
absolutely, absolutely. I'll try to reach out to you, and I'll send you some information. You can take a look at it, and we can get together.
Excellent. Thank
All
you.
right, sounds good. Thank you, Christine. Thank you, my brother Alan.
Thank you. Very well. Thank you.
So, well,
Appreciate
not
it.
a problem. So, well, that was fun. And I look, I really get excited. I like it when other people, just seeing their eyes when you're reading something and it clicks that it's there, and they understand that, holy cow, this is what I need it to be. It's really neat when that happens.
It's super neat when that happens. And like I was saying, when I started shuffling the cards before your show started, these two little piles fell out. And I said, well, I guess I'm doing two readings tonight. And that is the super fascinating part for me, that even if someone's showing up and they don't know they're going to get a reading, or they don't know what question they're going to ask, that something somehow is like directing the energy so that the answer is already waiting when they're sitting down. That blows me away every time. I mean, because it never feels like the reading is coming from me, the person, Lynn Sobolski. It always feels like it's something that I am, channeling or hearing with like the back of my mind or my subconscious. And so it is just as fascinating for me being on this side, I think, as it is for people to be on the other side of it.
Well, let me ask you this, real. Have you ever had somebody who comes in and they're like, "Hey, you know what? We just decided to give this a try. We're gonna, we're in this for the giggles. We're gonna, just have a little bit of fun with this." And then they walk out going, "Oh my God, I'll be back next week."
Sure. um, yeah, I mean, I think, when I do parties and events, that's when I tend to get people who haven't really considered getting a tarot reading at all. But, they have friends around saying, go on, get one. Um, and especially when you got like the crowd of people sitting around saying, "Yeah, we're gonna watch their reading," and then the crowd goes, "Aha! It came up in the cards." Yeah, it can be really life changing and unexpected for people. And again, in a really fun way. I mean, if you're coming away from an experience that you had and your worldview has shifted in a way that says, "Oh my gosh, there are things and possibilities I hadn't, considered that are real or that could be real or that, and it's something that you had fun doing." I mean, like, who doesn't want that experience?
Yeah, yeah. Why would you not do this? I mean, it's neat, and like I said, it's so interesting. Just to the fascination of it, and the way I see it is you know what? Who am I to say it's not true? I don't know. I'm not that smart. So, and like I said, I think it is so good to watch someone like our friend Christine. When you were talking to her, she heard what she needed to hear. You could tell in her eyes. You could tell in her expression. She heard what she needed to hear. And it's amazing to me when that happens. I mean, it is. It's just anything that gives anybody a little bit of hope right now and brings that confidence that comes with it. I think it's worth it.
I agree 100%. When I first started reading tarot, it was in a different place, in the, social sphere than it is now. Now people, I think tarot has become a little more mainstream. They know people who read, they've had readings, they know people who have had readings. It's not as shrouded in mystery as it used to be. Same thing for paranormal events, whether it's hauntings and things like that. um, just we live in the internet age where we can discover each other and we can discover each other's stories and we
Yeah.
can share each other's experiences. And you know you can doubt hearing one story, but if you see it replicated across time and space, it allows people to reconsider and not feel weird doing it. I mean, there was a time where if either one of us had said, oh, hey, I look into hauntings and I do tarot cards, I mean, people would have looked at both of us and said, oh, you're the devil.
Yeah.
And, I better take a step back so when lightning strikes, I'm not in the way. And now it's a podcast that people tune into. So we've come this far.
That is one of the funniest things is that I know as soon as my wife and we walk into a room, and all my wife has to do is say, I'm a ghost hunter. And all of a sudden, Zach's irrelevant. Nobody gives a damn about Zach anymore. His wife's a ghost hunter. She's the coolest damn person in the world. We're going to talk to her, and we're going to talk to her all night long. Zach, you can go and pick your nose in the corner because your usefulness is done. So
You're the plus one.
it's it is so funny, and it never fails. It never fails. So you're right. And I couldn't imagine that being that way 10, 15 years ago.
Not at all. I mean, I remember when I got my first tarot reading. It was right before I moved to New York City, so it was probably around 2007. And I lived in Northeast Pennsylvania back then. It was really word of mouth. Like you had to know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. And through one of my friends, I got this phone number for this woman whose name was Lisa. And she gave me the address, and I went to this house to get my tarot reading, and she had a little dog with her, it was a little Yorkie that was very cute. And I remember sitting in this living room, and she was taking clients upstairs, which already seemed like, oh, she's taking clients up to the bedroom, what's going to happen? And I'm sitting in this living room, and I'm looking around, I'm looking at the pictures, and I'm saying, geez, I don't see any pictures of this person or this dog. Like, what's up with this? And so when I got my reading, I asked her, and she said, oh, this isn't my house, because if people knew where I lived, they would show up at all hours of the day or night, or
Yeah.
what I was doing. They'd be, leaving stuff on my porch. And so
Yep.
she had this whole, scenario arranged where she would read at some place that wasn't hers, where the neighbors were watching and all that kind of stuff. And then she would kind of go back into her cave. And, you know, now nobody's at my apartment. I'm in my apartment, but you're all on the air. So it really it adds also this layer of safety and trust that wouldn't necessarily
Yeah.
have been there
Yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah. It is. You gotta really be safe and protect yourself. Um, the purple QR code right above Lynn. I wasn't calling you.
Aww.
The purple QR code right above Lynn. That's how you can get a hold of her. That is her landing page on Community Pay It Forward. And did you have a question? Is that what you're doing? No? Okay. Uh, but just reach out to Lynn. And again, like it says in the bottom, you get a reading, you give a chance to someone. So just let her know you came through Community Pay It Forward, and a portion of your reading is going to go to support somebody who cares. And the coolest thing about it is you get to choose who gets that support. All you do is you look and you find somebody who's asked us for help, and you get to make a difference in their life. So, Lynn, thank you. I look forward to next Wednesday, which will be we'll look into December, see if we can find a little bit of time to do it. But I think this is cool enough that we ought to continue to do this. I think we're having I know I'm having a lot of fun. So
I'm having a lot of fun too. Thank you so much, Zach. It is always a pleasure to be involved with projects with you. I think this is a really cool thing that we're doing. I'm enjoying it. Our guests so far have been wonderful, lovely people. And yes, I say let's move forward and keep it going and keep spreading the good cheer and the good vibes.
that sounds great to me. So, Lynn, we'll talk to you next month. But to you and to Alan and to Christine also, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everything is wonderful, and I hope that you guys have a lot of fun. I know my wife and I are going to have a pretty small one, but that's okay because Christmas is looking a little crazy. So, but happy Thanksgiving to you and your other, and I cannot wait to see you again.
Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there. And we'll see you next month.
All right. Thank you, dear.
Bye bye.
Lynn Sobolski. It's Lynn's Day. So this is, look, get your reading. And you can also register with us. We'll get the auction going, and you can register to win in the silent auction the free 1 hour reading with Lynn, and you can support us on the miracle of the season. Okay, what is the miracle of the season? It's very simple, folks. We are looking to make sure that there are people out there who are not forgotten. We're looking to make sure that we can help people through this hardest of holiday seasons. Okay, December is a hard month. No matter what your religion, no matter what your culture, no matter what who you are, you get to see these sappy commercials that are on the internet or on TV. You get to watch as some lady has her son come home from overseas, and they're sitting there at dinner. They're not expecting it, and all of a sudden, the kid walks in. My son's in Japan. I know that's not going to happen this year. That sucks. But I know that I can still, because of this wonderful technology we have, I can still record a message and send my love to him. I can also just pick up the phone and call him, but you know what? I like to embarrass him a little bit because I am dad, and I've already had him send me pictures. He doesn't exactly know why yet, but he's going to know why. So, one of the other things that I'm doing is I am writing a story for my 7 grandkids, and I'm going to put it in a book form. And I'm going to read a story to my grandkids, but I'm also going to read it to every other child in the world, because there are kids out there who that story is going to mean something to them. You know, maybe they don't have a chance to hear these stories. What I'd like to see from you is I'd like you to read a story. What was your favorite story? What did grandma, what did grandpa, what did mom or dad read you when you were a kid? What was your favorite story? Record yourself reading it, because you know what? There are millions of children who have never heard that story, and you can introduce them to their favorite story. Do you have a recipe that you think it's the best recipe in the world? Can you make the best sugar cookie ever? Share with us that recipe. Record yourself making those cookies. Send us that recording, because on December 25th, we are putting together 37 straight hours of good, of positivity, of support, of thankfulness, of love. If you want to say something, if you want to relive a memory, say your brother cannot be with you, but you want to you want to say hi to them, just send us a recording saying, hey, you know what? Do you remember that time when we were kids and by the time Christmas was over, we already had most of the toys broken? I remember many of those Christmases. So this is a chance for you to reach out to somebody that you haven't been able to sit with, someone you haven't been able to be with, and make sure that they understand you're not with me, but you're with me. Let's connect. Let's be positive. Let's be a community. Let's bring stuff together. Let's live, let's love, and let's let other people do the same. No matter what you celebrate this time of year, this is a time for you to tell us who you are, why you celebrate, what you celebrate, how you celebrate, because there are other people who are very interested. Let's get this done. Let's have some fun. Let's do some good. Folks, my name is Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PACT channels. Please, please, please remember, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. If you make a little bit of extra food, throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware, take it to the person down the street who can't get out to go grocery shopping, who might be hungry. Take it, put it in the, she's back, put it in the little bowl, give it to somebody on the street who's struggling with hunger. If you have an extra hoodie that no longer fits you, don't put it in a yard sale. You don't need that quarter that bad. Don't take it to a thrift store. Put it in your car. Give it to somebody who's struggling with the elements. These are small things that we can do that mean a lot to someone else. We can do this. Let's take care of each other because, folks, we're all we got. So please join me again next week. Actually, you know what? Next week we're not going to have a show because isn't next week? Next week's Thanksgiving. Yeah, we're not going to have a show next week, or I'm not going to have a marriage next week. So no, there's no show next week. So, but you know what? From all of us at the PACT channel, from all of us at the Community Pay It Forward, from all of my family members to you and your family, we love you. We're here to support you. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please reach out. This has been a wonderful Lynn's Day. Thank you to Alan. Thank you to Lynn. And thank you to Christine. Thank you to everybody who watched. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And we'll see you next time right here on Community Impact. Have a great day.
Say, bring me home, out alone, show me the way. You wanna hold the heart of Sunset Boulevard. Bring me here, 'cause it's not quite clear to be a part of Sunset Boulevard.